everybody. Welcome back to another episode of the Rule of Two podcast, a podcast where we talk about everything and anything Clone Wars, because that's what we're doing today. And I'm your host, Aaron Richland, and with me is my awesome, probably the best co-host one could ask for, Sean Ritter. What's up, everybody? Everybody. What's up, Sean?
I was like, what's up, everybody? That's not the line.
I meant to say what's up, everybody. But you're not Kyle,
what
so
up,
you wouldn't
everybody?
just repeat it.
What's up, man?
How's it going?
What's up? You mean aside from the impending doom of the entire world, given the global apocalyptic virus that's going on?
Yeah, I think we're all going to die. We're doing this remotely. Yeah. I'm in a plastic bag right now.
I'm in a plastic bubble.
And nah, not really. But I have never washed my hands in my entire life until this week.
Never washed your hands as much as you have.
That's what I meant to say.
I was like, you've never washed your hands?
That's what I meant to say.
Gross as fuck.
No, definitely keeping the hands washed. All you listeners should be doing that. Don't be coughing into people.
You know, it really hasn't changed much for me because you know me. I've always been kind of like very germophobic a little bit, so I don't really wash my hands much more than I ever have before.
That's true.
So nothing's really changed for me except now that
things, right?
way more nervous and scared about my fate.
Well, you're more likely to be fine than some older folks, so just don't get sick. Don't pass it to people. Don't touch your face. That's one thing that I've found is that I touch my face a lot.
Dude, yeah, especially with like a beard.
I'm old, touching it all the time.
Like
I'm touching
been
it right now.
Actively trying to not mess with my beard and mustache. Like
that's got to be the hardest thing for you.
It's so difficult because I do it all the time. I used to anyway. I really don't anymore. I'll be like, oh nope, don't do that.
Man, I went to the store the other day. All sort of shit is sold out.
What store did you go to? Did you go to the?
I went to a Walgreens.
I
went to get disinfectant wipes. They only had one left.
Can't believe that you had any left.
I went and got we got some, just some gloves just in case, some masks. No, I didn't get the masks.
I was like, what?
Or the gloves. But they're sold out of a lot of stuff, man. It's crazy. So, like, people don't need to panic. Just don't panic.
Yeah, I mean, lighter topics.
Wait, isn't this the COVID-19 podcast? I thought that's what we're doing. No. Yes.
But, dude, I don't think I've really talked to you since you sent me that tweet about COVID-19 looking exactly like a Jira ticket.
Oh, man.
And I fucking died. I showed Kyle that. I was out at the bar last night with Kyle and Susie and Tony, and he was dying laughing. Yeah, and I showed it to all my coworkers, and they were losing it. They're like, holy shit, that's so fucking funny.
It was a good one.
It was great.
I sent it to my my project manager. He fucking died. I haven't seen him since. Just kidding. All right. Lighter note. Clone Wars.
Clone Wars.
Season 7, episode 3. We just finished rewatching because we are a little late on the recording. This one was On the Wings of Kiridax, and the subtitle.
Kiridax is the planet that they're on. That they've been on.
I guess.
I think that might be the first time I've heard
actually.
That word.
I took notes a couple weeks ago about what planet they were actually on, but yeah, I don't know what Kiridax is. But
no, this is a different planet because they went there to get Echo, right? Or this is different.
Well, like the native people,
different planet
like
than the first planet in episode 1,
something like that. Oh man, look at us not know what we're doing.
Yeah, whatever.
Actually, I think
either way, I think that. We were just something that's sticking out in my mind so much and has been a lot lately. And we were just watching a couple clips before we started recording this. Is the difference in action and storytelling and how that they portray Jedi and the battles and stuff between the Clone Wars, the new Clone Wars, and the Tartakovsky Clone Wars, like the original Clone Wars. Tartakovsky.
Gendy.
Yeah. Like, wow, dude. Like, we were just watching like a clip where Mace Windu, without a lightsaber, took out like hundreds of super battle droids, like just in the most badass way possible. And like we don't get that anymore. Like
No.
we were like you and I were talking like when we're complaining because there's a bunch of are they D-wing droids? Is that what they're called?
Yeah.
The D-wing droids are like firing at 4 clones, Bad Batch, and none of the clones are dying, but all the droids are getting wiped out. Like how the droids really that bad, or like there's no like it's just constantly questioning like why is this happening? Like that would never happen in that one. And like but like back in the original Clone Wars, we're like wow, no wonder they never got killed because they're fucking badass. Even the clones, like there's the things that they're do are
very dope.
Sick as fuck.
The thing is with I feel like with some of these characters now with the Bad Batch is that like right now they're alone in a way that there's really no expendable characters, right? They might have something planned for them, or maybe they want to market them a little bit more, so they don't want to kill off one of the people. But like add in a few extra clones that can just get killed. You know?
Well, or either that or make it so that we don't question the fact that they're not getting hit because they're that awesome. Like
Don't stand in the single open
same.
doorway. That's the only point in which the droids should be shooting at, but they're not. Right. They're shooting all over the place. It seems like I don't know.
Right. Like make them do some crazy shit to make us believe that there's a reason that they can handle battalions of droids and not even get injured.
I agree.
It's just not.
There were still some cool things in this episode.
Yeah,
so let's rewind a little bit. The subtitle. What do you call that? The opening line.
I don't even know what you want to call that.
The scroll. The thing before the scroll. Which there's no scroll. Yeah, let's go with subtitle. That one. Was it? This one is survival is one step on the path to living. Again, we are talking about COVID-19. Just kidding. But no, I think it was good. You know, they again encompassing of the episode, they had to make sure that they survived getting out of this place.
That, and I think it has very much to do with Echo.
I think so too. Yeah.
You know, because they go and rescue Echo, and this whole episode's about them. Like they rescued Echo last episode, very end of last episode, I believe, and then this episode's about them getting out.
Well, at the beginning, they didn't even know how to get him out of the thing. The tech, he brought up how essentially the dude would die if they pulled him out, right? So they had to figure out some sort of way to disconnect him from the cerebral attachment.
Right. So they found him at the end of last episode, and this one's one they disconnected him from the Matrix, basically.
Yeah,
and I mean, it's kind of what it.
Jeremy had pointed out something about how Echo looked like he had no legs or arms, and I didn't see that last time. He brought it up when we were recording.
Oh, interesting.
And he was right. He definitely does have robotic arms and legs.
Well, his one arm is human still.
His
right arm, half of it is robot now, and I think both of his legs are robotic, aren't they?
Kind of eerie in terms of not eerie, I guess. No, because he loses all 4. I was going to say kind of reminiscent of what's going to happen to Anakin, but he already had the one arm. So when he loses his arms and legs to Obi-Wan, I think it's the same legs and arms. Because I think, is it the left arm? I don't know.
No. Either way, I'm ones making he loses to Obi-Wan are all the limbs except for his robotic,
which is his
right arm. So
I think I'm just making a connection that's not there. I'm like looking too much into it a little bit.
Yeah, I just said his 2 right legs. I don't know if you caught that.
You don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
You know how big his package is, which way it veers. Yeah.
No, but that's an interesting connection.
And we actually get to see him use his robotic arm, because it's not a robotic arm in the sense that Anakin's arm is robotic or Luke's was. It's robotic in the sense that like R2-D2.
Right.
I think I said to you,
it's more of like
I was like, how the fuck is that possible? Completely forgetting about the fact that Anakin's standing right next to him with a fully functioning like 5-finger human arm. Of course they can make those things, you know?
You're like, oh my gosh, they can do a completely functioning robotic arm. And we're just like, Anakin has one standing right next to him, and Luke had one when he had his arm cut off too.
And his was like
flesh way
colored
more
and shit.
like it was like it looked like an actual arm.
That was definitely a stupid moment for me. But so they're holed up in that central room there, which is Skanko. Damn it, Skako Minor.
Skanko.
Yeah, you guys got me saying that last week. And then so that was the planet they're on, and they're holed up in that room, and Wat Tambor and a shitload of fucking droids show up, and they gotta escape. And that's when old Echo plugs in his thing. Which again, why wouldn't he plugs it in with his R2D2 hand? You know, and that universal jack. Like that's more universal than anything we have in this planet. Like even more so than USB-C or anything like that. You know, it's just everybody has
apparently there's just like ports all over the place. You'd think that like they would seal those up if they
I think we brought this up before, but with Anakin, you'd think like he'd be or Darth Vader walking through the Death Star being like, "Whoa, what is this?
Seal that.
Get that the fuck out of here."
Right.
I know what they're going to do.
Because R2 was always plugging into those things. There's a lot of plot holes in Star Wars. I mean, that's an ongoing issue that I think we all know about. But
one thing I want to bring up is so they escaped through the hatch in the ceiling, and which was kind of cool. What was his name? The powerful guy,
the huge dude,
Wrecker. Right?
Wrecker, yeah.
And he's tossing up the clones like very high to get them up there, and I thought that was pretty cool. Anakin, does Anakin things.
Just like, sorry, I got this. I'm a Jedi. No problem. Boom, jumps out there without an issue, and then sucks Wrecker up into with the Force. Again, man, like you and I were talking about this earlier. Regardless of which Clone Wars it is, that are the first ones or the ones that were the newer ones, we're getting a much better sense of how powerful Jedi actually are that we never really got in the movies. Like, yes, to a point, we understood, okay, Jedi are powerful, but like not like this. Like we never saw them do the things that they've done in these TV shows.
It really goes to highlight, just how powerful they are in terms of, especially around their, peers, right? The Clone Wars or the clones, I mean. And
yeah, absolutely.
The droids and just why they were like, the protectors of the peace or whatever, and they were the people that the galaxy went to solve issues because they were that awesome at what they did.
Exactly. But, and like even in this episode, the Bad Batch, the like leader, I can't remember his name, but he made a comment about like how awesome it is to fight beside Jedi. Like wow, Jedi are really they're hyped up to be. And I just don't feel like, I don't know about you, but I don't feel like I got that sense from the movies. Like you're just like I feel like they could have like, oh, okay, well, you could have done this or you could have done that or it could have been.
Yeah, with the original trilogy, I get to a point because of two things. One, it's old, so even back then they were like swinging around like 20,000-pound sticks for some reason. And then the other thing was the Jedi were dead. Right?
That's understandable. Like I get that. That's totally and believable a little bit, except for Darth Vader.
Yeah. No, and which is something that we've talked about. I don't know if we talked about it on the podcast yet, but about how Darth Vader is kind of like they're really showing the badass nature of Darth Vader in a way that we haven't seen before, right? With Rogue One,
100%. Rogue One was like the
Jedi
first
Fallen Order
big instance we got of how amazing. Well, not actually. I guess not. Battlefront. The new Battlefront was, or no, not Battlefront. Was it Battlefront?
Battlefront 2?
No.
Like the new one.
Like the opening sequence you play as Darth Vader.
Oh,
is that
yeah.
Battlefront.
I think that was Battlefront 1.
The Battlefront one.
I can't remember. They both kind of sucked, in my opinion.
Whatever it was. Point being is that the assumption or the knowledge is that Darth Vader is the biggest badass in the whole entire galaxy, and we haven't really seen anything that's blown our minds really until Rogue One.
Yeah, and I think that was one thing that the original Clone Wars did well, and now it's 100%. Translated a little bit over into the new Clone Wars, where they're really showing you just how fucking dope the Jedi are.
Yeah, and Force users in general.
And and we see that here when he brings them up and saves Wrecker's life because that droid, I forget what they called it, the Decimator droid.
Yeah, the ones that like cut the holes in the
and like shoots
walls,
out this purple lightning, and it saves Wrecker from dying.
Yeah.
So after that, one thing, Wat Tambor goes in, the thing blows up, they blow up the room they were in.
Mm-hmm.
Wat Tambor goes in and says something along the lines of, they took Techno-Union property. And that, like, to me, that's
they're talking about
one part of something that I want to bring up a little bit later on in terms of the way that the Techno-Union seems to view things. And we'll just talk about it now. We can jump around. Everybody, if you haven't watched this episode.
Well, first, what I want to say is, for those who don't know who Wat Tambor is, he's the guy in episode 2 when Dooku's meeting with all these different separatist leaders, and Obi-Wan's spying on them on the planet Geonosis. And the dude who's got like a mechanical body and goggles for eyes, and he's the Techno-Union Army, and he adjusts the little thing, the little dials on his chest, and he's like, is that your disposal count? Which we were talking about, and we didn't see him once do like when he's talking, adjust the little thing on his chest. And I agree with you. And you said it first, but like I was disappointed that they didn't do that.
Yeah, like come on, man.
Like,
he has like 2 lines in all the movies that he's in. Well, I guess he's only in 2 of them, but like 2 lines or 1 line, and in that he has to adjust.
He's in, and like you said, which I didn't know, but he's in episode 3 when they're on Mustafar. He's one of the separatists that Anakin kills, but like he doesn't say anything. At least we think he's there. He doesn't say anything. The only line he says in the movies is in episode 2, and he does the little thing, the adjusting of the volume, and it's like he's mostly like technology, a robot. Like the Techno-Union Army is not.
Yeah.
Right.
It's in their name.
Probably like half organic, half mechanical.
Yeah.
Or some combination of the 2.
So we'll get back to that in a little bit. Something I want to talk about. We'll just kind of timeline through. They leave. They go up. Apparently, they're in some like Cloud City like structure. Up in the air, trying to escape.
Because they start on the ground.
And again,
they go up this elevator, and now they're like 1,000,000 feet in the air.
Which
it looks like
elevator.
Bespin. It reminded me of Bespin a little bit.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
So they're like climbing or walking across that bridge. Wrecker still. I don't know if you remember from the last time. He is clearly afraid of heights, and once he looks down, man, he's starting to. I mean, that was, pretty much the end of him. Just kidding. He didn't die. But this is another one of those things where they're literally like, there's nowhere else for the droids to aim, and somehow they still miss.
Yeah, it's a clear line. And then also the clones aren't shooting at the droids. They're in a single line.
Yeah.
Take them out.
So the
Anakin,
droid
Anakin, why don't you just throw your lightsaber and take out like 15
all
droids? All of them in a row.
Because the 10th droid can't shoot unless they like doing one of these numbers like off to the side, But like, okay, first of all, the first droid almost hits Anakin first shot, but luckily he has a blast or a lightsaber to block it. Right. But like none of the other ones hit. Like they don't even come close to clones.
Dude, you know what? I don't look. I love Dave Filoni. I think he's great, and I think he has a love for Star Wars. Unlike a lot of other people who have done Star Wars things in the past. However, he needs to stop trying to make children's.
Yeah, you know what would have been a good
TV shows? I don't know. I don't know, man.
Touching thing, but like kind of emotional. Like say in the scene where Anakin is pulling up Wrecker, like, I got this. He makes a joke, runs up there, starts pulling him up, and the lightning gets to him and dies.
Something. I mean,
make it
more real.
Make it real for Anakin, right?
I'm really hoping that they put Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni together more in the future, because like Dave Filoni clearly has the love for Star Wars and the knowledge, and like he enjoys doing it. But at the same time, I feel like Jon Favreau has more of the realistic approach, or he's trying to be more like, at least in the things that we've seen him do.
Yeah, I mean, Mandalorian was pretty. It wasn't like off the very first episode, they slice someone in half in a door.
Yeah, exactly. Like it's more gritty, and I understand this is a cartoon.
It's a cartoon,
but so was the original
Cartoon Network.
So was the original Clone Wars, and that was on Cartoon Network, and that was, in my opinion, way fucking better than this shit. Not that it's bad, but it's not as good.
But
personal opinion.
I guess you're right.
Yeah. I mean, do you not agree?
Yeah. Well, I feel like at first, like the Clone Wars started off really like in a way I didn't really like. I think especially the movie and a few things.
Agreed.
But it definitely transitioned into a darker. It got better. Dark. It got better in my opinion, and in a way that it got so good that I fucking love it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It got much better, and again, we already have said it. We just went back and compared some old episodes from the original Clone Wars, from the Tartakovsky Tartakovsky Clone Wars to the episode we just saw, and I'm just like, well, why didn't they do this? And like, how are they doing this? And like I don't feel like those questions came up that much in the original Clone Wars. You're like, oh yeah, they're badass.
Yeah,
like they can do this because they have evidence that as to why it's happening.
I was also 14 when the original Clone Wars came out, so I probably wasn't asking these questions, or thinking this deeply.
True, which is why we should probably rewatch those.
We should, and let's commit to that now. Within 2 years, we will have watched those and released at least one episode about it.
2 years
because it's a good buffer, right?
How about like 2 months? 2
years. I don't want to because if you give the audience something and you don't do it, then you just look like assholes.
What audience?
Well, all right. Well, fair enough. All right, so they're high up in this Bespin bridge thing, not getting killed, not getting shot at, but missed, and they can only last for so long, right? Granted, the droids miss them a lot, but eventually the droids will start to hit them, right? Tech, he has this brilliant idea on how to get them out. He recorded a distress call from those reptile pterodactyl motherfuckers that the native people were flying on, right? And he calls that out, and those bitches come up, and they save their asses. And then they all have to jump off onto those things. They fly away. And then what do the fucking droids do, Sean? What do the droids do?
They fly now.
They fucking fly now?
They fly now.
They fly now. Unbelievable. So yeah, the D-wing droids, I guess that's why they call them D-wing droids, because they have wings and they fly now.
That has to be like one of the worst lines, the worst things to happen to Star Wars. Lots of things that have been bad to happen to Star Wars, but that's got to be up there.
100%.
Like, are you kidding me? There's tons of instances of all kinds of people flying, having jetpacks and all kinds of shit, and they fly now.
It's so funny that you mentioned that because
they fly now.
I mentioned
what the fuck?
Wrote a note down about that when I watched it originally. Oh my god, it's just so bad,
so dumb.
But anyway, they return to the native people, and what do these native? I think they're called like protectorates, or actually, before
what are they called?
They're called
the natives of the planet.
Native.
And remind me, what's the name of that planet again?
I think it's Skako Minor. I said it right that time.
Skanko Minor.
Skako. Poltex, I think is what they're called.
Poltex?
Poltex, yes. I looked it up last time.
Well,
and I guess that's totally wrong.
Oh,
I don't know. Well, at least it didn't come up with Google. Anyway, they come back to those native people, and again, it was something we both picked up on right away. Yeah. Like, who do they remind you of?
Oh, dude, and you and I agreed on this 100%. We said it at the same time. I think is that they. In physical appearance, a bit. Obviously, their faces are different, and the color of their skin are different, but especially the way that they sound, they reminded me so much of Rakatans.
Yeah, from Rakata Prime or whatever, isn't that the name of the planet?
Yeah. Rakata Prime. They were the ones who created the Starforge.
In Knights of the Republic. That was my first thought. Oh my god, they sound just like them. And
they were
like there's a pattern with that.
They go back like a millennia, like long fucking time.
Thousands of years before the thousands of years before where we're at now.
They were like, I want to say, I have this book about Star Wars chronology, and I want to say that they were like one of the first people to be able to use the Force. I don't know if that's true or not. Like take
they were
that opinion as you will, but
according to Wikipedia, they were they developed some of the early hyperdrive technology that allowed them to travel across space.
There you go.
Which is one of the first to do so.
There you go.
And then
they created the Starforge, which Darth Malak ended up using to try and conquer the galaxy. And which is what the whole entire story was driven off of, was when Revan and Malak were still Jedi, they were looking for all these star maps to lead them to the Starforge, which was kind of like a living factory. Like, it was alive. It wasn't like the Ford assembly line, except it was alive. It wasn't a machine. It had like from what I remember anyway. It's been a while.
It's been a while. I used to, every time it would come out on something new, I would buy it and play it. Like,
Yeah.
it came out on Xbox. Originally, I bought it, play it. PC. I think I have it on 2 different tablets.
Oh
Or
yeah,
like
I
2
have
different,
it on my phone. I have it on
all sorts of
my
shit.
computer, Android TV, everything. But the point being is that these natives sound a lot like what I remember Rakatans sounding like.
They do.
And that can't be coincidence, I don't feel.
No.
There's no
'cause
way.
I think there's a pattern with that where he brings in like Mandalore. They brought in Darth Bane at one point, like
That's
So
true.
I feel like there's a lot of that.
There was
going
also
on.
supposed to be a scene with Darth Revan, but they cut it.
Bastards. They should have kept it.
Fucking assholes. Whatever.
So I thought that scene was pretty interesting because the native people wanted to be, neutral essentially, but
Right.
the clones were just like, "Yo, bitches, they're here, and look what they fucking did."
And look what they did. Yeah.
They're gonna do it to you. You gotta help us out. And also, like, they come here, they see you with us, and you think they're gonna just like be like, "Oh, well, we're just here for them." No, they're gonna come in guns blazing, and that's exactly what they fucking did.
Which again is my complaint about this show, because it's just like the old rehashed storyline. It's that way every fucking planet they go to.
That's
Oh,
true.
look what they did to these people. Look what they did. Because they try to, like, the whole show is like based around the Republic going to these planets and convincing them to go to their side, right? Like that's a majority of it. Like, there's other things going on clearly, but like a big part of it is that. And when they go to these planets, a lot of the times the planet's like, no, we're neutral, we're not going to engage in this. And then it's the Republic convincing them, look what the Separatists did to these people, look what they're willing to do, blah 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 blah, and then end up convincing them to go to their side. It's not enough. Some episodes are really, really amazing. Like the ones that are sticking out of my mind are like when Anakin went to that planet. I don't
The
even know
dark
where the hell
side
he
and the
was.
light side in the middle.
Exactly.
Like the
It's
father,
it's
son, daughter.
Like the father, the son, and the daughter of the Force, and like the origin of and we see Qui-Gon's ghost come back, and like that shit was really cool. And then when Yoda went to Moraban / Korriban, or whatever the fuck they're calling it now.
Or Exegol. No, that's later.
No, that's different. But that episode was cool, but it's just a lot of it, like this new series is
I do feel like they did have a good, like, anything with Darth Maul and those folks and the Mandalore, like the Mandalore premise in itself, I guess, is kind of that way, where it's a neutral system and then blah blah. But I still feel like they expanded on that in a pretty dope way with like the Death Watch and all, like kind of making it.
Yes, that was really cool. And obviously, one of our favorite episodes is when Darth Sidious goes to Mandalore and wipes out Savage, Opress, and Maul. Super dope. But I'm just saying, like, as a whole,
Yeah, I get you.
Like, as a true Star Wars nerd, But I'm still gonna watch it. It's Star Wars, I mean.
That's
cool.
how I feel.
It's still fun.
It's so
to watch.
like, I mean,
but if I'm being hypercritical of it, and then again, like, it's really coming up again because we just watched clips of the original Clone Wars cartoons, and those are just, I liked those so much better. Just as far as plot line and action and stuff, I don't know.
I feel you, but so with this one, they're convincing the natives, and then a battle ensues. Obviously, right? The clones or the droids catch up to them, and those big spider droid things were pretty dope. I call them spider droids. I think spider droids are actually something else, but those were a different type of those. They're way bigger.
Spider droids are much smaller.
Yeah.
Right, but they were like 3-legged, massive buildings of spider droids.
Yeah, naturally, Anakin and the clones win. Long story short, they bounce out of there, right?
And you can say Anakin and the clones won, but
Anakin won.
I mean, the clones are like doing all this effort to like take out one of them, and Anakin like effortlessly just takes out like 2.
It was kind of funny though.
Like,
you gotta think that Wrecker probably thinks he caused that droid to fall backwards when really that's not what happened.
Which is still impressive that huge building of a droid was trying to stomp on him, and he grabbed its leg and like pushed it up.
The ground underneath him was like
what kind of mutation happened to this motherfucker?
Because a normal mammal would have been crushed under that, but he was not.
He wasn't. No, he fucking held it there. But then Anakin does what Anakin, and man, I think this season in particular, Anakin's like not the Anakin that I feel like is existing in episode 2 or 3. He seems
wiser,
like actually
right?
wise. Like he seems like he's like a wise and intelligent Jedi, and that he's doing the right things, and he's picking up on the right signals,
And that's why I think
making
that
the right decisions.
what I said earlier
but then
about
like you go to the movies and it's just like this guy's stupid and impulsive and he's a child, and I don't know.
yeah. So, I mean, it is something that I think they overdid in terms of trying to make him like the Jedi Knight, the Jedi Master, sort of like a master to an apprentice, not Jedi Master, but
You think they overdid it in this
in the Clone
in
Wars,
the Clone
right?
Wars?
Like
Okay.
because like the way he is now in what we have just watched, for example, and knowing how like Ahsoka left and stuff,
Right.
like there's no way he would have like that Anakin would have reacted the way he did in Episode 3 when found out that he didn't he wasn't going to be a master, right? He's going to be on the council, but not a master.
Oh, for
right?
sure.
He would have been like, oh, all
Totally
right,
different
well,
Anakin.
yeah.
It's not even the same person. That's what I don't like that much.
Yeah,
I like it better in the Clone
I do
Wars
too.
than what
But
they
and that's why I
did in
think
the movies.
the what I said earlier about when Wrecker was coming up, or he was bringing Wrecker up, and what I said about how he should have died there, right? That would have been a dark thing to do. I think that would have been actually really cool and really actually a good thing for Anakin to have of like on his mind, like this guy that he was responsible for to get up there. He didn't make it, and
he didn't make it, so that like helps to lead down his path to darkness.
I think they needed
to
focus a little bit more on that. I would like that a lot.
I couldn't agree with you more.
But I think
I could not agree with you.
We talked about it last week. Somewhat. I think that I read somewhere where this is really going to. I mean, you wouldn't guess it after 3 weeks of watching not Ahsoka and Rex. I mean, Rex is in it, but that this is really going to focus on Ahsoka and Rex going forward.
Wait, what?
Like Clone Wars is like the main story of this is like Ahsoka and Rex, which I like.
Seriously?
I want to
How do
see
you know
more
that?
Ahsoka. I
Did
mean,
we talk about that?
I don't know. We did talk about it. Well, it was brought up in passing at one point, but and I just read something, so it may not be true. You know what I mean? I probably can't even find the same article, but
Interesting.
yeah. Anyway,
I really hope that's not true, because I want much more focus on Anakin. I want to see his descent into darkness, his descent into madness. Like that's the part that we're missing. I feel like it like all of a sudden in episode 3 just flipped a switch.
Yeah.
Well, kind of. I don't know. We see a little bit of it in episode 2, but like
there is some
I don't
darkness
know, man.
stuff.
They just didn't do it as good as they could
May,
have.
you know what? This could also be a consequence of us not like rewatching fully the episodes that like the Clone Wars, because there's. I mean, I do recall sometimes, especially the one that we just talked about where he went to that planet and
Right.
the father and son, and he had some dark side moments there. But yeah, I want to see more of that in the next 9 to whatever episodes we have left.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. I really hope we see more of that, and what will be even more dope, and we've talked about this already, but seeing like more of the build up to Order 66.
I really
and
hope
like
we
the
see that,
clone perspective of what was going on.
And they are
Because
not
we don't
shy
have a lot
about
of
the
that.
clone perspective, right? Like
yeah.
like
The
a lot of
whole
episodes.
this whole TV show, I think, has been more about the clone perspective than anything else,
Mhm.
right? I mean,
Yeah.
like that's like for sure, 100% has been more about the clone perspective than anything else. So that would be really cool to see leading up to Order 66, and possibly even the execution of Order 66 and slightly after.
I hope so.
Like just getting because we know that Rex
Survives and goes
survived
into
it and like
Rebels.
and was able to
So how?
deactivate his like chip that was in
Mhm.
his head or whatever. Like how did that happen? We know that it happened because of Rebels, but like what was it actually like when it was going on for him?
Yeah.
Because we know Cody didn't get out of it.
No, I mean he tries to
kill
Anakin,
Obi-Wan.
or Obi-Wan. Yeah.
Right. And they didn't really, and that's the other thing too. You never see or hear any mention of Rex in any of the movies, but he is a huge presence in both of the Clone Wars series, the original one and this one.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah, he was a
Anything about
huge presence in the original, the Tarkovsky,
Tartakovsky. Tartakovsky.
whatever the fuck his name is.
Yeah. So to round out this episode, they leave, and one thing I wanted to point out was the Wat Tambor finds out, and that Echo is bouncing out, and they don't have him anymore.
Oh, right.
And he says, the loss of the clone is a detriment to the profit of the Techno Union Army. And he mentions something about like how they lost their investment or something like that. And I find that to be interesting. One, from a perspective of like where do they think they are? Are they in America? Like the Techno Union Army, like profits above everything else? Or no, but I do think that is kind of interesting too, because earlier in the episode, like he's not seeing the clone as literally anything but property. Like he actually said, they took Techno Union property, and now he's worried about like the loss of investment that they spent money on this to try and do, and it was working, and then the clones fucked it up. And I don't know. I find that to be an interesting thing, like a political thing that I think the prequels and the Clone Wars all together as one like really did well in terms of showing the political nature of things.
Agreed. If we've gotten anything out of any of these TV series, it's like an insight into like the political nature of like what warfare looks like in this universe, right? Which is super interesting. And like you said, Echo is like their quote unquote property, and then at the very end, you like see him like give like a weird look, where Rex says something like, "Oh yeah, just like old times" or something like that.
Back to normal, essentially.
Back to normal, and then Echo's like, "Back to normal." And he looks around and gives like this evil smirk, and you're just like, "Oh Jesus Christ!"
No, shit's not normal.
No, shit ain't normal, and they did something to like Echo is not on their side. I feel like he is part of the separatist.
He's at least
now.
Part droid now, right? I mean,
he's part something,
part cyborg. I mean, parts of his arms and legs and shit like that, and then is it his brain as well? Like he was attached to some like cerebral attachment that if they unplugged it would have killed him.
He still had attachments when they were taking him onto the fucking transport. He had
like
attachments
a virus,
all over himself.
Like you think about a computer virus, right? Like is he now infected by something like that that's going to corrupt him and stuff like that?
Yeah, man.
Maybe the coronavirus, something like that. I don't know. Like, does that affect droids? We don't know. We don't know, so don't panic. It's fine.
Well, they're not organic beings, so I doubt it. But Echo is clearly, I believe that he is no longer part of the clone brotherhood.
I think they wouldn't waste 3 episodes just to have Echo back. You know what I mean?
Agreed.
But
there's going to be something else
will.
crazy that's going to happen. Honestly, I'm like over all this Echo and Bad Batch shit. I'm getting tired of it. It's 3 episodes of just a continued. I want Ahsoka back. I want to see I want to see Ahsoka back. I want to see more
Jedi.
Again, I think you and I are in this for like
more
the
Jedi generals.
You and I are in this for the Force user aspect of it. We want to see. I want to see the clone side of it, but it's not for me. It's not nitty and gritty and dark enough to be super interested in the clone.
You're just more interested
like,
in the Jedi, like the Force user lore of things. Like even like the Night Sister stuff is really fucking interesting to me. You know what I mean? Like those sorts of things I really like.
And not that the clone stuff can't be cool, but like I want like a R-rated. Like, you know what I mean? Like a Saving Private Ryan,
Band of Brothers,
Clone Wars, where it just focuses on like the 501st or whatever the hell it is. You know what I mean?
And here's the thing: I like a lot of that. They don't go that nitty or gritty with it, but I do like a lot of the interactions with the clones, throughout the Clone Wars. But one thing also is I know we only have this is the last season. We only have a limited amount of episodes left. I mean, probably 12.
I was gonna say I don't think it's gonna
12,
be
12 total.
I don't think it's gonna be 24. Like
I think it's gonna be 9 episodes.
Like,
I'm operating under the assumption that there's 9 episodes left, and that
I agree.
We only have so much time, right? So let's get to it. Okay, we passed the Echo stuff. I'm sure it's gonna have an impact later on, but luckily
Yeah.
because they did drop today, because we're recording this Wednesday. They did drop the preview for the next episode.
Right.
At least a
And we've
little
got
snippet.
Obi-Wan and Mace Windu.
Mace Windu teaming up.
Which is part of the reason why we rewatched that Mace Windu destruction.
It is.
It
is because it reminded me. So the preview has Mace Windu and Obi-Wan dropping into some thing where there's a shitload of droids, right? Just all over the place.
Right.
Mace Windu's giving a speech saying how he slaughtered 100,000 droids already, like by himself, which is like, that's impressive.
Yeah, and we saw it happen.
And that's what made me think that maybe this is going to be like a little nod to the Tartakovsky
hope so, dude.
Obi-Wan or Mace Windu scene, because that scene we just watched it.
I really hope
If
so.
you haven't seen it, I'll try to remember to put this in the show notes. It was awesome.
It's incredible. Like I can't that's what I wanted out of
he's
Jedi
killing things
in the movies and anything else.
Sorts.
Like that the power he exerts during that
even
whole
without
scene,
a lightsaber.
Without a
God.
lightsaber.
That one you had to rewind it because I didn't see it. Oh man.
Oh yeah. He fucking slides into like 10 super battle droids
that are shooting at him,
and then clenches his hand, and their heads blow off, and then he pushes them aside with a swipe of his hand. Like that's the kind of stuff that we need.
Yeah,
to see.
My favorite one was in the. Okay, so again to clarify, we're talking about the old Clone Wars from 2003,
right?
Where Mace Windu he like uses the Force to just pull out all the screws instantaneously from one of the droids, and it just falls to pieces.
And then he uses those pieces to annihilate 5 other super battle droids that are sitting behind him, like a fucking rain of metal needles that just rip them apart. It's insane.
It's so fucking dope.
And we don't get anything like that in any other Star Wars media. It's not. We've never seen power like that. Doesn't.
Video games maybe.
Video games maybe.
Episode 9. Maybe.
I guess I'm just talking about like movies and.
No, but I am excited about next week's episode from this. 3 days from now. Oh wait, it's Tuesday, not Wednesday. I said Wednesday earlier. But anyway, Friday, this episode that's coming out, we're gonna be seeing the purple lightsaber again. Gonna see that in action. Can't fucking wait for that.
It's been a while.
Him and Obi-Wan teaming up. Like those are two of my favorite Jedis, just in general. You know what I mean?
Oh, 100%.
Like,
I totally agree.
I love Obi-Wan. I think he's like the perfect Jedi. And then Mace Windu is just he's just dope, dude.
It's just super dope. And
didn't you say the voice of him was someone?
Yeah, the voice of Mace Windu in the new Clone Wars is the same guy who voices Kratos in God of War.
That's so cool.
Like every God of War that's been made, even the new one for PS4, same dude.
Nice. That's so fucking dope.
Obviously, in the Clone Wars movie that came out all those years ago, it was, I think Sam Jackson reprised his role as Mace Windu just for that movie, and so did what's his face? Christopher Lee.
I don't think Ewan McGregor did that.
I don't know about Ewan McGregor. I'm not really sure. I know Christopher Lee did Count Dooku in the Clone Wars movie where they had to like go and save Jabba the Hutt's like little son or whatever. But it was only that movie, and then everything after that, Mace Windu was voiced by the same dude who voiced Kratos. And if you listen closely and you've played God of War games enough, you can definitely hear it.
Embarrassingly, I haven't played that too much. So. But yeah, so that's next week's episode. Can't wait. Well, this week's episode, but
yeah, I'm pumped.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you have anything else you want to talk about the Clone Wars? Wrap this puppy up.
Probably, but we can just wrap it up.
All right.
You know something else that pisses me off?
What's that?
Again, just going back and watching the original, is Grievous.
How much
more awesome Grievous was in the older ones.
He was a badass.
And he was still awesome in the newer ones, and he just became a little bitch in the movie. I don't know.
His lungs hurt. Maybe he came down with the COVID.
That was another thing that we were talking about. Like, at the end of the original Clone Wars, Mace Windu crushes his chest, and he starts with that. And then they carry that into the movie, but they never do any kind of justification as to the carryover. Like, oh yes, this is what happened. This is why. Or actually, yes, he did crush his lungs, and there's no confirmation of that whole thing, which always bothered me because I like Grievous a lot.
Hopefully we see him some too. I mean, shit, Clone Wars is still going on, you know? Like, that's the one thing I don't even know if we will see Grievous.
That's a really good point, man. I didn't think about that. He's still there. He's still around. He's still the leader of the droid army.
Something's going on. And, you know, hopefully maybe we'll see him next week.
Fucking, what's his nuts? Trench?
Yeah.
The spider dude who's now half cyborg.
Thought he was dead, but I guess not.
Yeah, he was supposed. Yeah, I thought he died in episode 1 of the original. Yeah, whatever.
All right, I think it's gonna wrap this one up. Did you have any other messages for the listeners? Sean, anything?
Balls.
Nope. Plenty of those in this podcast. Which actually we have one without balls that we have to release yet. That'll be coming soon. But this one is gonna be dropping very quickly.
We didn't release that one yet?
I haven't released it yet because we had the Clone Wars and there was another episode we had in the backlog, and then yeah. Anyway, so that wraps it up. We'll hopefully be back this weekend with another episode in several days rather than a week or so. So hit us up on RoTKast on all of the social media platforms: Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. All right, we don't have TikTok.
We don't have TikTok.
But we will tomorrow. No.
Our website.
RoTKast.com. RoTKast@gmail.com.
There you go.
RoTKast everything. And that's RoTKast with a K.
ASC with a K. You know, I recently, really quick, a coworker of mine, I just started working with him recently on a new project and found out he was a Star Wars nerd because he was wearing a hat that had Arabish on the side of it. I was like, dude, is that Arabish? He's like, yes, it is. I'm like, the fact that you knew what I said when I said that makes you my new favorite person. But he was talking to me about it. I'm like, yeah, actually, I do a podcast with a friend of mine. And he was like, no fucking way. So we might have another listener. I don't remember where I was going with that.
Another listener, another potential guest for all the future content that we're going to be bringing.
You never know.
To this show. Because, I mean, shit, we've been doing pretty well this year. I mean, more episodes in the last 3 months than we did the first 2 years.
It's true.
So, all right. Well, we'll see you guys on the next one, which will be dropping very quickly. Peace.
Later.